Go ahead.
We're getting Alberta is the linchpin. So when Trump says Canada is going to be the 51st state, he's speaking, he's vamping, he's having a little fun. But what he's really saying, because I know a lot of the guys in charge of the Albertan separatist movement or their prosperity movement, Alberta, they've already met twice now with the State Department. The Albertans are ready to vote in the next 6 months. They're getting out of the Canadian Union. They're going to become an independent state, independent country. We're going to recognize them, and that's going to put them on the pathway to becoming the 51st state. And here's why that's important. Alberta has a bevy of untapped rare earth minerals. They have the world's largest geothermal energy sources. They have some of the world's largest natural gas and oil deposits. So when Trump says Canada is becoming the 51st state, he's really talking about Alberta, and that's important because that's a gateway to the Arctic.
This is one of those moments where you don't know whether to get mad at the guy or thank him, because he's making the job of Alberta independence supporters a lot easier. I mean, Mark Carney is easily the most effective advocate for Alberta to separate from Canada. And that's a lot to say, considering the fact that his predecessor was Justin Trudeau. If I'm Donald Trump and I genuinely have ambitions to expand the American empire, to bring forth manifest destiny, if you will, I'd be incredibly happy to see the way Carney's treating Alberta and Saskatchewan. I'd be celebrating it. I mean, because I know that it will make it a lot easier to convince Albertans to want to join the USA with a real constitution, equal treatment under the law, and unlimited access to the largest economy in the world. And plus, I get to incorporate a new state or territory with massive wealth and conservative values just north of Montana. I mean, come on. There's this video on Twitter put up by Steve Bannon, former Trump advisor, where they talk about how the Alberta independence movement would be reshaping North America, particularly if Alberta decided, after obtaining its independence from Canada, to join the United States. Let's have a listen.
President Trump's argument to Canada is, and they just kind of blew it off, but when he talks about defense, what he's making the point on the Arctic is that Canada is kind of like Ukraine, right? The Chinese and the Russians are up there, and they see the undefended northern territories of Canada. They're going to take a bite. The Canadians got to understand something.
They already are.
They're going to intrude in your territory, and they're going to dare you to do anything about it, and you're going to turn to Big Brother. Go ahead.
We're getting Alberta is the linchpin. So when Trump says Canada is becoming the 51st state, he's really talking about Alberta, and that's important because that's a gateway to the Arctic. Greenland is another gateway to the Arctic. So when we talk about hemispheric defense, we're not just talking about Latin America. We're talking about the polar regions too, Steve, and how they all link together.
Kevin O'Leary talking about Donald Trump expressing his desire to make Canada the 51st state, but he was really talking about Alberta because of its wealth of energy. Very quickly, do me a favor and double check if you're still subscribed to the channel. I know some of you have complained that YouTube has been unsubscribing some of you, so please double check if you're still subscribed. If you are, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Make sure to press the bell icon, which will send you a notification every time we upload a new report. Thank you.
And who's got the lowest cost power in North America right now? Alberta, Canada.
Alberta.
6 trillion cubes of stranded natural gas. Unlimited resources there. Nobody has anything like that, and I think that's why you heard Trump talk about turning Alberta into a state. He knows what they have. They're not going to agree to do that, but the country's loaded with that kind of power, both electrical, nuclear, and gas and oil.
Look, Kevin's got a point when he says that Donald Trump doesn't really mean all of Canada when he talks about the 51st state. Maybe playing games and stuff. He doesn't want all of Canada. It'd be just a California with a lot of land, you know? It'll almost certainly vote Democrat. But Alberta, on the other hand, that's a completely different story. This is a land with massive wealth, energy-wise, and also minerals, rare earth minerals. And it would be a conservative state. But if Alberta became independent and either joined the U.S. as a state or stayed independent and created an association with America, become the closest allies, and have complete and open free trade, it's a completely different story. It would change North America significantly and massively. Look, in my opinion, Mark Carney is pushing Alberta closer and closer to the United States. Every time he ignores the concerns of Albertans, every time he ridicules the Premier, every missed opportunity to treat Albertans with respect opens the door to Alberta further integrating into the American economy as a result. I mean, it's always been easier for Albertans to negotiate with Americans than with the rest of Canada. So why not just go all the way, you know? Carney is certainly pushing the province in that direction. Here's what I mean. Here's a recent article from the Calgary Herald titled, Alberta Gets Diddly Squat from Carney, Danielle Smith, Soldiers On. Pipelines, ditching anti-Alberta and anti-oil patch federal laws. Carney lets Albertans stew in our own outrage. Completely disrespecting the province. Where's the party? Where's the pipeline? Where's the big win for Alberta on Grey Cup week? Yes, it wasn't supposed to be this way, and since I'm not negotiating with Prime Minister Mark Carney and his Liberals, I can cut through the crap. We were told many times by Premier Danielle Smith how she had a deadline for Carney to meet. She wanted Carney to put a bitumen pipeline to the West Coast on his list of nation-building projects to be fast-tracked for the green light. She also demanded the Liberal Prime Minister scrapped or seriously make over anti-oil patch laws brought in by the Liberal government under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And the clock would run out on those demands come Grey Cup week. That was the understanding of most Albertans. It's Grey Cup week. Well, that was last week. This article is as of November 13th. Albertans didn't score a touchdown and didn't kick a field goal in this big game of real-world politics. Alberta didn't even manage to punt the ball into the end zone and squeeze out a single point. At least not yet. Nope, Alberta got nothing. Shut out, a goose egg. Oh, other places did well. Carney put 3 BC, British Columbia, projects on his favored list, and it didn't take long for BC Premier David Eby to stick it to Alberta and Premier Smith. Quote, "It is no surprise to me there is no heavy oil pipeline on the list. It is a figment of a communications person's mind in Alberta," says Eby. So this is why I say that Mark Carney is one of the biggest proponents, biggest advocates for Alberta independence. The way he continues to treat the people of Alberta is a reminder as to why we need to get the hell out of Canada as soon as possible. Hey, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to be notified every time a new video is published, hit the subscribe button and activate the notifications bell. It's completely free and it helps our channel grow. A heartfelt thank you to all our channel members. I really appreciate your support. See you all in the next one. Peace.